I find conflict in RP can be very difficult to get right, and by right I mean where both sides have a good time.
Yeah, it's hard to do. I feel like it's hard to do conflict RP, especially more these days. But like, I think it's always more difficult when you don't know the people you're doing it with that well as well. I feel like.
Yep. 100%.
Because you know, if you don't know them, it's a bit difficult. But I also think, you know, community-wise, conflict RP is kind of shied away from for a reason, which is a shame because there's a lot of good RP can be conflict RP, but also lying if I didn't acknowledge that, you know. I do wish it happened more. I just don't think it's just too much hassle.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think that is universal. That's not server specific. And it's not even fucking roleplay specific. You can fucking like conflict. I think, unfortunately, with any kind of conflict, you get people. And you know, I've always said the worst thing about roleplay are the role players.
Yeah.
And by that, I'm not knocking anyone's roleplay. I just mean, you know, remove Twitch, remove audiences, remove viewers. Even when you've just got people role playing, there will always be potential for someone to be too connected to the character they're playing, and then anything that happens to their character becomes, oh, this is happening to me. And then suddenly there's personal investment in something that essentially is meant to be kids running around in the woods playing with sticks.
100%.
And then suddenly you add in potentially thousands of viewers who have each got their, you know, dare I say, tribe, and then stuff can start, you know, spiraling like way out of the hands of the role players at all, because suddenly you've got someone like role playing on the other side getting all this shit coming into their chat, and they're like, whoa,
don't want to interact with them anymore, you know. Yeah, exactly.
You know, so it's like, and even on Wild, you know, which obviously is a lot of people hold, you know, in a very special place in the roleplay community, which I don't necessarily think they should. Yeah, over there, you know, one of my gangs went to war with like one of the biggest gangs on the server, and I had two of my gang both quit streaming over it. Because suddenly they were getting stuff in DMs and chats, in fucking Discord messages, and it was like, what the fuck, man?
It gets crazy,
like,
bro. It gets
crazy. It's fiction, like it's fictional characters. None of this is real, man. It's pixels. No one's getting hurt.
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah, it's
can
shame.
we all just chill out?
It is bad. It does get bad, and it's
yeah.
Sometimes I don't really have like the answer, but I do sometimes think like, is that something that would change if you didn't have? Like, does that stem from the people playing being overinvested, or like them seeing examples of overinvested players that then causes them to be like that, or would they be like that if everyone was clear that it isn't?
I think it's all of the above. We're about to get into like such a fucking deep conversation now. I think it's all of the above, and I think what often happens is a conflict will start, and I think most of the time when conflict starts, everyone's kind of chill with it. You know, like the role players are chill with it, the viewers are chill with it. And then the problem arises is when, normally I think the problem starts to arise when very early on it becomes very apparent that one side is doing significantly better than the other, and that is unlikely to change. So that's when you start getting the viewers, at least in my opinion, of the side who maybe aren't doing as well, and they go, hang on, that's my stream and my character, I want them to win. That's when they start getting problematic. That energy starts coming into chat. And then it's very easy. If you've got a wall of people saying something, and maybe you've just been shot down, and you're like, oh man, that was fucking shit. You know, you probably aren't saying it, but in your mind, you know, you're like, oh, maybe you're having a gamer moment. You know what I mean? You're like, oh man, I'm fucking been shot down again. And then that feeds into it. And then next thing you know, it's like, you know, it's like a week later, and then it's suddenly it's you and the chat are aligned, and it's become, you know, like, I mean, I was in a conflict once, and someone sent me a clip of the other streamer in it going, this war will only finish when I win. And I was like, and it wasn't his character, it was the streamer. And I was like, man, that's not a good attitude to go into any conflict, because essentially you're going, you know, and it also, you know, it's like, well, either you perma or I will never stop coming at you. And it was like, oh God, I guess all roleplay's gone out the window.
I think a lot of people feel the same way, you know, like a lot of people don't want to lose in front of their audience, you know, like they don't want to have to be the one to come out on the bottom end.
But I think this is where I think people taking a step back is a great idea, because if you watch any film, TV show, anything about like using GTA as a setting, or even using Red Dead as a setting, you look at anything that's to do with gangsters, gangs, criminality. 99 times out of 100 in the TV show or the film, what happens to the main character who's a criminal or gangster? They're either in prison or they're dead.
Yeah.
But then most people, let's be honest, are playing that kind of character, but they have audiences who are like, no, they can never lose. And it's like, if they never lose, it's boring.
Yeah.
Like they need to lose at least at some point. Yeah, I mean, they need to win, but after a big win, there's either got to be a sudden fall or like a gradual fall, because otherwise the story just becomes, oh, he's an unkillable, invincible, never losing god, and that's not fun to play, and it's not fun to watch. I think people need to definitely, you know, like embrace the loss.
Oh yeah, bro, 100%. Like that's a thing that I've always tried to be like pretty chill with. Is like, bro, at the end of the day, like I was saying this today, like you having like bad things happening to your character, all that does is just gives you more to then do to come back from. You know, if you're just constantly winning and you're just getting on the server to win, to show that your character is like just a G, it's like, okay, well, how many times did how boring does that get? Like, do you want to see that character go through struggles? You want to see that character go through like different things, ups and downs? It's like you said. But there's a lot of, you know, there's people that play for role play, and there's people that play for
dubs,
comp, you know?
Yeah, I know, 100%. And honestly, I think I'm really lucky, because in my time on NoPixel, I seem to have just naturally gravitated towards everyone who's more like, we want to role play.
Yeah.
And we've managed to completely avoid, because again, like, you know, I came into NoPixel with a certain, well, no, I didn't have a view of it because I'd never played it before, but I'd come in with it, people being like, oh, like, you know, the role play is not good, and it's all RDM and shit, and I was like, I'm fairly sure you're being a fucking elitist, and no, it's not. And since coming in, I've just been fucking blown away. First of all, with how welcoming everyone's been, like, and you and the Mandem community and all of your viewers, everything, like, absolutely included. But just like in terms of the quality of the RP, like, it's just been really, really refreshing and fun. So yeah, that's been like a massive boost.
It's good you had that experience, because a lot of people, like, I would say, like, new to it, it's really hit or miss. But like, I also think because of the level of RP you bring, it kind of like, because of the RP you bring, it kind of makes people be like, whoa, hold on a minute, like, we ain't seen this in a while, like, we better like level our shit up. And I think interacting with, like, you almost bring out the best of the person you're role playing with, because if it's someone who's not as much like that, you know, just people are kind of low effort. Even with me, even with like the Mandem, like, it was the same when we met the Solomons. Like, we were a lot more low effort. I know, I'm sorry. I know we say that every time.
I'm gonna start getting your name wrong on purpose now, man.
No, big man thing though, you should just be called the Solomons.
No, man.
It's stuck now.
No, it ain't stuck, motherfucker.
What actually is the name?
So obviously, Solomon is Solomon Walker, right? So, you know, if anything, it would be the Walkers, but he's the only Solomon, so it can't be the plural.
Okay.
So essentially, the crew is the Cut, so CUT.
Yeah.
And that originally came about because obviously this particular gang existed in Wild RP in 1896, and their legitimate front was a mining company, and at the end of a mine was something that was referred to in the period as the Cut, which is where you were literally cutting into the bedrock to do the mining. So they took that as their name because they were like, well, we're a pretend mining company, we'll be called the Cut, and everyone will be like, oh yeah, they're miners.